All right, let's get started. We'll call to order a special meeting of the Traverse Bay Area Intermediate School Board of Education. Superintendent Segoric, would you call the roll, please?
Shear.
Here.
McKellar.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Tank.
Here.
Berge.
Here.
Carpenter. I think I saw Jim and then he popped there. He's popping in and out. There's Jim. Hi, Jim. Can you just give us a here? Unmute. Perfect. Thank you. And then Fisher.
Here. We need a motion to approve the November 17, 2020 agenda as presented.
I'll make the motion.
Support. Motion and support. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. And opposed? Okay, I think that motion passed. I want to move on to welcome to all the visitors that might be out there. I'm glad that you took time out of your schedule to join us this morning. And now is your opportunity for public comment. And you should include any comment on the extended COVID-19 learning plan that we're going to be talking about this morning. Brandy or Renee, do we have folks out there wanting to address us this morning?
We do, Mr. Fisher. Carrie Noga, if you want to unmute, now is your opportunity.
Good morning, Ms. Noga. You have the floor, ma'am.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Carrie Noga. I live in Traverse City, 442 Hamilton Street in Traverse City. My husband and I have a son in the Oak Park program, in the autism program. He is actually at the East Middle School location, about to transition to the location. And I wanted to say thank you, first of all, to TBA writ large, the Oak Park system specifically, but the larger organization, for prioritizing in-person education for the special ed population. That 2-week start and the last week where he's been able to continue in person has been truly valuable and appreciated. I understand that due to circumstances beyond anyone's control, we're moving to remote for the next few weeks. My chief comment is just to urge you going forward, as you have so far, to continue to make those remote decisions, those closer decisions, as narrowly as possible. That has been the practice. I don't have any reason to believe it would be discontinued. But I just wanted to add my voice to that message, and it truly does make a difference to be in person, even if for a few days at a time. So thanks for what you've done to keep in person a priority, and please keep it up. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Okay, there not appearing to be anyone else that cares to address us this morning. We'll move on to Roman numeral 2, action items. And the first of those, recommendation Chromebook purchases. Matt Olson, please, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Just appreciate being able to get this on this agenda because time is a factor in these purchases. We're recommending Chromebook purchases in the amount of just over $32,000. This is as a result of CARES Act funding that we're able to use to expand our remote capacity. And we just wanted to be sure to get this on there because it may exceed the amount that was approved previously back in the summer when you approved a larger device purchase. So CARES Act has allowed us to expand that purchase, and we need the capacity, as you can imagine, for what's happening around right now. So we're asking for your help.
Is there a motion?
I'd be happy to make that motion to approve that.
Thank you, Liz.
Support.
I'll support.
All right, we have a motion and a support. Discussion. Dr. Severk, would you call the roll, please?
Sure.
Yes.
McKellar,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Hank,
Yes.
Berge,
Yes.
Carpenter,
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next recommendation, COVID-19 preparedness and response plan. Dr. Severk.
So I want to, first of all, thank the board for their flexibility and willingness to meet on such short notice. It has been a fury of activity over the past, over the past week, but clearly over the past 48 hours since the governor made the announcement to roll back restrictions or dial-up restrictions on Sunday. I want to thank Carrie for her comments, and I want to echo that our staff, we are prioritizing the health and safety of all of our students and staff, and are being very precise when we have to make some recommendations to you, the board, and make some decisions with regards to our programming. We recognize the importance of having our students, whether it's in the Career Tech Center or whether it's in our specialized education program centers, the importance of face-to-face learning. And we also recognize that we are in the middle of a pandemic that it seems to be in our state and in our region where the numbers are increasing rapidly. And so we have to be reactive to that. We have to do whatever it is we can to ensure that we can continue to provide face-to-face instruction. And so it was determined that we are recommending that we do a 3-week pause with our programming. And that pause, again, is to ensure that the numbers can come down and that we can then have our students back to face-to-face. That's our goal in our programming, and we want to ensure that that's going to happen. So to that end, I'm going to share my screen. The board has approved our COVID-19 preparedness and response plan, as well as our extended continuity of learning plan. Now, we believe the plan does allow for us, with the advice of our medical professionals and our health department, to be able to make these decisions and do a pause. But we wanted to be a little bit more intentional, and we're asking for some slight adjustments with respect to this plan. Notably, the recommended changes lie where we talk about phase 4 and 5 in instruction. If you look at our COVID plan, it says school operating status open for in-person instruction for phases 4 and 5. And what I'm recommending that the board consider is to make this slight change. I'm gonna move this. And that we're asking for this asterisk to be included, and and then as it's highlighted here in the bottom, add that at times the district may shift to remote instruction due to the governmental order and or by superintendent determination in consultation with health departments or the medical community. So we're asking for that slight adjustment wherever we have phase 4 or phase 5 with respect to our original COVID plan. Again, you will see on page 48, we're asking for that adjustment as well. And then lastly, on the other adjustment would be requesting an amendment to the extended COVID plan, the extended continuity of learning plan on assurance number 6. It highlights TBA in consultation with local health departments will develop guidelines concerning appropriate methods for pupil instruction. And then I'm asking for a slight adjustment underneath the note where it says a determination concerning the method for delivery of pupil instruction shall remain at the district PSA superintendent or board's discretion. And the reason why I'm asking for that flexibility is because what we're recognizing is that this is so dynamic that we may have to pivot, and it may require us to act more quickly than what we would be able to do is post a board meeting for 18 hours, even in this emergency meeting, and the flexibility. And so, quite honestly, I don't anticipate, first of all, I would be in constant communication with you if we had to make an adjustment to how we're going to be providing remote instruction. But I think the flexibility, given the dynamic part of this situation, is going to be critically important. And so we're just asking for those 3 modifications to our COVID preparedness and response plan and our ECOL plan, and for an adjustment in the next 3 weeks to go remote instruction. So that's what we're looking for approval on.
Okay, just to be clear, there are 3 things. Our COVID response plan will be amended. The extended continuity of learning plan would be amended, and then the next 3 weeks we would be remote learning. Those are the 3 items that we're going to include in the motion. Okay, all right. Is there a motion to that effect then?
I'd make the motion to
I'll support.
approve that.
All right, we have a motion and support. Discussion.
Yeah, I have just a couple clarification questions. Nick, that very first amendment, I saw the one in the extended continuity of learning plan where you had the multiple entities, including the superintendent, has that discretion to make that call. Is that language of those multiple decision makers of discretion the same in the preparedness plan, or did you just call it the district has the ability to do that?
Correct. It's the district. It's not
okay.
Listen.
So is there a reason that it's not as broad in terms of discretion to allow the superintendent to make that decision? Why did you keep it as a district kind of categorization there?
So if you recall the timing of this, so August is when we were required to have those COVID preparedness and response. And then after that, there was actually legislation requiring the extended continuity of learning plan, which got to more specifics. And that's codified in law. So the COVID preparedness and response plan is more or less a roadmap and doesn't necessarily carry, it's our roadmap, it's board adopted, it's approved. So that's how we're moving forward. But codified in law is the extended continuity of learning plan. That's what really truly does govern how we're going to deliver remote instruction. I will share with you that this is a little bit like the belt and suspenders approach. There's our attorneys believe that codified in board policy, I do have the authority on health and safety and welfare to be able to close down facilities for an extended period of time. But out of full transparency and making sure that our community is aware, I wanted to make sure that our board not only was aligned with that, but we were able to communicate with our community that this is what we're going to do. We're now going to pause and shift from in-person instruction to remote for a period of time.
So that I get the preparedness plan is a roadmap, but the steering wheel effectively is the extended continuity of learning plan. That's what's really driving the day-to-day decisions. Within that extended continuity of learning definition that you have there, is there anything in there related to a timeline upon which if you make that discretionary call, would come back to the board to have a more formal codification of that decision, or is it just simply your discretion for an unlimited extended period of time to make that discretionary call?
So it is required that annual or monthly, the board consider how we're delivering instruction.
Got it. Okay.
So it would be a sequence depending on when our next board meeting would be, unless we chose to do an emergency. And what I would probably offer is that, okay, let's suppose we get through these 3-week periods, the number of cases are down, we're face to face and we're rolling along. And then all of a sudden we've got a significant spike where we have to go back to a pause. I would likely make that call to do that, but then likely if there wasn't a close enough board meeting schedule, probably ask you for a special meeting to review that decision and then have some conversations around it.
Yeah, so yeah, the maximum amount of time where it can be your pure discretion is up to a month, a maximum amount of time. And then otherwise we have to codify it. And at any point in time, and I'm not suggesting, first off, I already know that you'd communicate with us on every one of your discretionary calls. I already know that, just as a matter of history and practice and experience. So we have that trust in you. But at any point in time, just for the public, in case they're listening, the board can have a special meeting and look at that extended continuity learning plan and make an amendment to it if we ever disagreed with any of the specifics of your discretionary call. I don't foresee that ever happening, frankly, but it's good for I think the public to know that the board is still ultimately driving the decisions, but we're giving you the discretion to do it in the interim period, which I think is the right way of doing it. So thank you for all of that.
Thank you.
Are there other questions from board members? If not, Dr. Segura, could you call the roll, please?
Shear,
Yes.
McKellar,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Tank,
Yes.
Berge,
Yes.
Carpenter,
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
We'll move on to Roman numeral 3, an information item, a first read of policy number 4225, temporary remote work policy for Michigan Occupational Safety and Health Administration compliance. Dr. Segura.
Yeah, you have the policy in front of you. You know, there's MIOSHA came forth and said that the board has to have, or a district has to have a policy around remote work. There's some question around whether MIOSHA's term of policy is a requirement that it's a board policy. But again, out of being as conservative as we can, we want to get in front of this MIOSHA order, and you have a first reading of a potential remote work policy. What I can tell you is outlined in our COVID preparedness response plan. Our supervisors do have authority to allow for remote work where appropriate. Obviously, in the new order, it's required for those to do remote work if it's possible and feasible. And so many of our supervisors have already enacted with their staff the ability to do some remote work. So this will be a first reading here, give you an opportunity to review it, and then a second reading and adoption at our next board meeting.
Any questions? All right, very good. Well, thank you everyone for making time in your schedule for this meeting. If there's nothing further, we are adjourned. Be safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.